The gold price has surpassed $2,500 per ounce. In this video, we will be taking the blindfold off the gold bear. We'll do that a little bit later in the video, but first I want to introduce today's guests. We got a number of people who are joining us now and a number more who will be joining us shortly. We have Daniel Diaz, the Executive Director of Citizens for Sound Money. We have Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, a legendary and well-known figure in the gold and silver community. And of course, the one and only Coin Shop Chris from the Coin Shop Chris YouTube channel and longtime supporter of Ron's Basement. Guys, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Hey, Ron, thank you for having us on.
Yeah,
thanks, Ron.
Yep.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. And thanks to everybody who's joining us for this momentous occasion of taking the blindfold off the bear. Can we believe that we hit $2,500 gold? We were talking before we went live that it was just October of last year, 8-9 months ago, that we had $1,800 gold, and people scoffed at us when we talked about the prospects for $2,500 gold. But here we are. So in this video, we're going to talk about a couple key things. Where do we think gold could go from here? But also, what about the little brother, silver? Will silver hit its all-time highs, right? Last time we saw silver at $50 was 2011. Why don't we start with Daniel? Daniel, what do you see when you think about the gold price in the coming months?
I think gold is going to go on a major bull run. I think that 2,500 is just a start. If we're looking at the futures right now, the gold is at 25.46 and holding. And with everything, if we're looking at the macroeconomic situation of our country, we have 75 basis points being dropped on the interest by the Fed in September. It's going to happen again in October. That's going to shock the market, and I think that's going to be the feather that brings the entire all the markets down: real estate, stock market, and the debt markets. And if I'm a big fan of North Star bad charts.
Mm-hmm.
They have some great analysis on gold and silver, and I don't know if you wanted to pull that up.
Yeah, let me pull that up, and let me remind everyone as well at about the 10-minute mark is when 10-15-minute mark is when we're going to remove the blindfold from the bear. I want to make sure everybody who's joining us knows that we're just going to wait for some people to join us. But is this the chart that you? This
is the chart, and they did this chart I think 5 years ago. And it played out exactly as they planned. If you look on the chart, I think, they have it going up to 2,660 in the short term. But if you look at that green line up there, it says estimated path, 3-year moving average. They expect it to continue going up, and that arrow is going up to $9,000. Now, if you look at another chart that they did on gold compared to the stock market, 140 years of U.S. stocks priced in gold, it kind of matches up the long-term bull market that we're going to have. If you wanted to pull that one up to show
is that this one here?
That one. So we have had 3 big bull markets over the last 140 years. 1931, the first gold and silver bull market started. You see that in the bottom left, and it peaked in 1935. We're looking 4 years of gold and silver bull market. Then again, we got a Bretton Woods in 1971, and the gold and silver bull market started again, and it peaked 9 years later in 1979. Another bull market happened in 2004, and it ended, the peak of gold and silver ended in 2011. Now, it's happening again. The indicators of the stock market and gold ratios are getting to that point. And look at the years going up to 2028. We could have another 4 to 5 years of a bull market in gold and silver.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about the prospect. I was looking earlier today. Not many people want to talk about a bear market in the dollar, but if you look at that 2001 to 2011 bear market in the dollar, and the U.S. dollar is at historic high levels. Gold went up from like $250 all the way to $1,800 during that period, right? Yeah. And silver went from $5 in 2001 all the way to $50 per ounce, a 10x
Yeah.
in 2011. So thank you for your thoughts. Hey Jake, what are you feeling for the gold price here as we head into the coming, let's say, couple years?
Yeah, I think it's going to work out great for gold. I've always been a big fan of gold. I think the next price target should be looking at about 2,700, 2,710, something around that for the next move up. Yeah, I think the next couple of years is going to be great. And remember, I try to tell people, even though the markets sound and look okay right now, we haven't even gotten to BRICS yet. So all this movement the last 4 months and all this is just kind of steady flow. We're already beating bonds. We're getting close to beating the S&P. And once we see a pullback in stocks, you're really going to see money start moving into physical gold and silver. And then hopefully you guys that are holding on to miners, you'll see some new money come in to the miners.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake. And Coin Shop Chris, here before we start the process of removing the blindfold from the bear, what are your thoughts on gold and silver? I know you follow it ultra closely on a daily basis. How do you see things playing out here in the next
well,
few
I gotta agree with the rest of the boys here, Ron. I mean, I'm kind of surprised we're at gold at 2,500 now. I did not think that was going to happen till after the Fed cut in September. But look, we got gold.
We lost you.
That's
Are you there? Go ahead.
32.04%, and we got silver up $6.55. That's a net gain of 29.07%. I think from now until they cut rates, and after they cut rates, you're going to see gold and silver really take off. And can we see $9,000 gold? Yeah, the next couple of years, I do believe that. Could we see triple-digit silver? Very possible.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and you know what, Chris? I want to point out, I want to repeat one more time. Like we say $9,000, we say $10,000 gold, and people think you're crazy, right? Well, they thought we were crazy when we said $2,500 gold back in October, but that's a 4x for gold to get to 10,000. It did a 6x from 2001 to 2011. So it's not like it's there isn't precedence for these types of gains to occur throughout the recent history with the gold and silver price. So it's going to be fun to watch how things play out. So we're at 4:08. What do you guys say? I think we're going to go longer here. We're going to have John Little from the Silver Academy joining us. He's going to give us his specific thoughts on when silver is going to hit new all-time highs. But you know what? Hold on here, guys. And I apologize to everybody. There he is. Let's bring John on. What the heck? Hold on.
Here. Hey,
hey,
great.
John.
So
John.
I met Daniel just now, and then hey, I see, is that a Vince Lancy t-shirt? I see. What's your name?
Got it, John. Hey, yeah, VBL's Ghost, baby.
Oh yeah, he's the best. No one is better than Ron. He's got the energy.
Yep.
I remember when he said, I'm going to do one podcast a day for a year, and you ended up doing 2 years. I mean,
now I'm in my third year. Yeah.
I need to do that with some kind of diet. Like, I could be like, well, anyway, let's talk about silver. I have a crazy number that's just based on Jim Rickards recently talked about $27,000 gold. And the reason he's doing that, he's tying that to the M1 money supply, and then just you take the divide that by what U.S. says it has in gold, and you've solved the debt crisis. You can solve the $35 trillion debt just by reevaluating gold. And then I came up with 2.5% of the gold price to come up with like a $600 silver. I know that sounds absurd, but Ron, we got to remember it's about 50 years ago that Nixon shut the gold window. It went from $35 to 2,500 yesterday. In 53 years, that's a 174x move.
Yeah.
And so it's conceivable we'll see during a bull run, silver and gold can go up to. Do you guys ever see that guy Gradahy on Twitter? And he does those 3 phases of the bull runs, and it's violent when it occurs. And silver and gold have been chopping sideways forever. What, at least 5 years, right?
Yeah. Yep, and think about when it comes to silver, John. I'll repeat it for the third time. From 2001 to 2011, during the last bear market in the U.S. dollar, silver went from $5 to $50. Silver went up 10 times. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. So to think that, you know, silver could, if silver went up, and I'm not saying that it will, but it could go up 10 times from where we are right now, we'd be looking at $300 silver.
Exactly. And let's add to this very important fact. Most people forget that, yes, silver and gold have been money for, well, let's just say 2,500 years. The first coins of Lydia during the Peloponnesian War was 500 BC. It's that famous owl coin from the mines of Lorient, Sparta versus Athens. So let's say 2,500 years. But you got to remember, silver is an industrial metal. This is only come in since the Industrial Revolution. We didn't have electricity in the 1600s, the 1700s. The current wars, Tesla versus Edison, that happened only about 100 years ago. So now we have these new uses for silver, for conductivity, reflectivity, solar generation, weapons. Everything comes from the military. That's the internet started from the military. Crypto started from the military. Rockets started in the military. You know, jets. Everything that it's basically, it's subsidized research and development for the private sector. That's what they call technology transfer. So now, in a perfect storm, we're seeing all these new uses for silver that weren't around 100 years ago. And meanwhile, there's no new silver discoveries. And Mexico is just last week, they're passing a law banning open pit mining. It's the only way you can mine silver economically because the ore grade is so shitty now. It used to be me, you, Ron, we could have our pickaxe and a wheelbarrow, and out of every ton, we'd get 40 ounces of silver. Now you're lucky to get one. So it's like dust. So you ban open pit mining, and you know, and the politicians in Mexico are smart. They got their hand out. They're saying, we want more money from these Canadian investors, you know, your Fortunas and they're good companies, and they do have a lot of silver underground, but they're going to nationalize silver. I know that's a rumor, but it's been substantiated. Anyone can follow the Department of Secretary of Environment, Maria Luisa Albores Gonzalez. She's on Twitter. She's talking about this grassroots movement of peasants, environmentalists, intellectuals, campesinos, agricultural workers, and they don't want to let North Americans rob them of their silver. That is their national treasure. So I'm just saying, dwindling supply, spiking demand, these AI data centers are just going to gobble up what's last energy there is, and there's still no better conductor of any of the energy besides silver.
And all those factors you just mentioned, if you look at the last two times that we hit $50 in silver, 2011 and 1980, whether you're looking at the supply factors that you mentioned, the dwindling supply, or the demand factors, all this new I think it's safe to say that the factors that are in play now are much more critical and exaggerated than what we saw back then. And I want to pull up and right before, and next thing we're going to do, guys, is take the blindfold off the bear. But I want to show a chart that I think really drive home what John just talked about. And if I have it right, that's the 16 ounces of silver we're giving away on August 31st. There's a link to where you can get on the giveaway in the description of this video. There it is right there. That shows all the world's silver, where it comes from. And that big blob right there is Mexico. I mean, really, literally almost twice as much as anybody else. And it's already going down, right, John? The amount of silver is down.
Oh, for sure. The ore grade, it's just all about the ore grade. Yeah. Like I said, per ton used to be, wasn't that long ago, a ton of what we would call just raw grade. We could get 40 ounces out of a ton. And now it's about 1 ounce. So it's gone, the ore grade's horrible. That's why the good miners talk about we have high grade. Not one of them will. They all say they have high grade.
Yeah. The low-hanging fruit, is it safe to say the low-hanging fruit when it comes to silver is gone? I know it's true for gold as well.
For sure. Yep. Yeah. This happened with every single, even coal at one point. That's what crashed England's economy when the grade got deteriorated to where It's no different than oil. Steve Sanangelo talks about it better than anyone else when he talks about the what is it? The Permian Basin is Midland, Odessa, Hobbs, and then there's North Dakota. That's the Bakken Formation. The crude grade is so bad that the energy you have to put in, it's called the energy return on energy invested. That oil should be twice. You think silver's manipulated? Oil should be twice the price that it is, which is only going to drive the price of silver higher.
Yeah. And there's a lot of energy that goes into digging one of these out of the ground, right? I mean, a lot of energy. I know Bald Guy Money, when we talk, he likes to remind me that these are energy, they're batteries. They don't store electricity, but these silver ounces store a lot of energy, a lot of previous work. That
I just wrote a story on Samsung's new battery kills the lithium ion. All right. The lithium ion in a Tesla, you only get 300-mile range. With the Samsung silver battery, 600 miles. So they double the range.
Yeah.
The charge time on a lithium is 35 minutes. This is cut down to 9 minutes. Okay. Then the lifespan, instead of being 5 to 10 years, is like 20 years. So now you got double the life, cut your charge time in half, and it weighs a shit ton less. Those are like 1,500 pounds in a Tesla. It's all battery weight.
But John, you're missing the kicker, the most important part about that new battery. What is it?
It's silver.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So when you said you held the thing and you said, I know it's not a store of energy, it actually is.
Yeah.
Silver, zinc batteries. That's how you can't switch out a lithium battery underwater like in a torpedo or a submarine, because that's why you saw Teslas exploding during the hurricane season. Water does not mix with lithium and ion. It's got to be a silver zinc battery. That's why it works in the torpedo so well.
But these, is it, and I'm reading different estimates, but these new batteries that could be used in EVs that Samsung's developed that you just referred to, what I'm hearing is they would require up to as much as 1 kilogram of silver. 1
kilogram per car, and which I think is really low estimate, because again, I told you that the weight of a battery is over 1,500 pounds. So just 1 kilo of that being silver, that's pretty damn efficient. But and you don't think the consumer's going to have a vote on that to say, I'd rather have the battery that goes twice as far and takes no time to charge, 10 minutes, and I get double the life? Pretty soon you're going to see Teslas just pulled over to the side of the road because it's made more expensive to change the battery out than the value of the car. That's why there is no, I mean, and they're storing them. Just go to the Silver Academy. We have pictures of them.
Yeah. I want to mention right now, I want to go back because we have almost 600 people with us, do a reintroduction of who's with us today. We have John Little from the Silver Academy Substack. He puts out an excellent piece of journalistic work on a daily basis. It's free. There are some paid options, but the free option as well. There's a link to his Substack in the description of this video. We have CoinShop Chris YouTube channel, CoinShop Chris. He's new, he's growing. He's the fastest growing precious metals YouTube channel in the universe. Okay. We have the one and only legendary figure in the gold and silver community and a big supporter of the channel. CoinShop Chris has been as well, but Jake from Jake's Custom Parts, he knows a lot of people out there in gold and silver. I'll leave it at that. A lot of people. Daniel Diaz, Executive Director at Citizens for Sound Money, right? They are pushing and working tirelessly to get gold and silver back into Americans' hands as real money. A lot of legislative efforts and everything as well. But without further ado, I've strung everyone along here for 20 minutes. I'm going to do the unblindfolding of the bear, and then we'll come back for some more discussions, guys. But a couple people asked me to give a quick history of the bear. So let me pull up a picture of the day we got the bear. This was a Saturday morning, about 7 years ago. Those are my twin daughters, Evelyn and Lillian. We were at a garage sale. There was a really nice old man, and my daughters, of course, fell in love with the biggest stuffed animal in the world. And he gave it to us for like $3. And he told me it was a very special bear. So we brought it home. It was right around when I started Ron's Basement. And when I started the channel, gold, it was like February 2022, the gold price was doing really well, went up to like $2,000, but then immediately went into a bear market, went down to like 1,600. And I came up with this idea that the gold bear was responsible for the bear market in gold. At that point, at $1,600 gold, we blindfolded him and wrote 2,500 and promised everyone that we would take the blindfold off at $2,500 gold. And that was when the spot price of gold closed above $2,500 on a Friday. It happened sooner than I think most people thought that it would, but it did happen just yesterday, Friday, August 16th of 2024. So we are going to take right now the blindfold off the bear and see if there's any surprise behind that blindfold. So bear with me, pardon the pun, for 1 second. And yes, I'm wearing a swimsuit, but this is it, the big moment. There he is. Okay. There's the bear's eyes. Somebody in the comments said, I can't believe I'm watching on a Saturday night a bear getting his blindfold removed. But I was surprised when I pulled it off that the bear actually has one silver eye. So he is keeping his eye on silver, as we've been discussing here today. Up behind me, let's see, right there is the silver bear, which CoinShop Chris set up for me. He's got an $85 target. You know, we're waiting for that. Chris, when do you think we're going to get to that $85 target price in silver?
Hopefully sooner than later on. Maybe by the end of 2025.
Yeah.
You think so? Think it's possible?
Oh yeah, he sounds
very
like
possible.
That sounds very possible.
Yeah, I agree.
When we're looking, what do you think, Jake? Do you think we could get to $85 silver possibly next year?
Depending on how everything goes with BRICS, I think we might be able to see it before Christmas of this year. Would be my prediction.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead, Daniel.
People were asking about the other $2,500 bear, the white one.
Oh, that's the platinum bear.
Okay.
He doesn't get enough love. Yeah, he sits there. Where is he? Right there, right on top of the Pimbex box. And he's the platinum bear. He doesn't get much attention, but we'll shift to him once we get this $85 silver price out of the way. Let's talk about this BRICS meeting, October 22nd and 23rd. Anybody have any thoughts on that? There's this idea that we could hear about a gold-backed trade settlement currency, the unit. What do you guys think about that?
From what I've read, I've read multiple articles where they said the gold-backed currency is still a little bit down the road. What they're going to introduce is a way to instantly transfer, kind of like a CBDC rails, instantly transfer their currency, whatever that currency is, and it's going to be backed by all the BRICS nations' currencies in different proportions, from my understanding. Mm-hmm. But I think that we might, if they put gold in it, great. But from what I have read, the gold CBDC or BRICS currency is still a little down the road.
Interesting. Any other thoughts?
Well, one
thing.
Ron. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So Ron, on Chris Marcus's channel with Matt Riley on two of those interviews, he's done it where they're going to hold 40% physical gold, and then the rest of 60% is going to be the currencies amongst the BRICS nations to try to balance out their accounts and stabilize their governments. So they can do a 40% gold back of physical. That probably explains why the last couple of years, all the central banks have been stockpiling the hell out of gold and running around the world, especially South America, with the the OTC market, which a lot of people don't hear about when they said, last month or two that China wasn't buying gold. Well, they were. They're just not buying it through normal markets. But when the OTC, and they can go around different countries and pick up silver ore or gold or something on the call it on the side. Yeah, if it's not through the markets, you can pick it up cheap. And supposedly it sounds like China and India are paying a whole lot more money for it than the United States are, beating out other countries for the bid. So it's going to get interesting in the next couple of weeks.
And let me comment on that. If they do surprise the world and actually back a digital currency with 40% gold, that's going to devastate the dollar. I mean, Gresham's law is going to kick in. Bad money pushes out good money. People are going to start dumping the dollar and buying this gold-backed currency. And what's going to happen then? If all the liquidity is going into a different currency, that means the dollar is going to come back home, creating an inflationary event. People are going to dump it. Countries are going to dump it. And back their currencies and their trades and their swap lines with this gold-backed currency. I mean, I know I would. I mean, I was contemplating buying the ZIG dollar because it's backed by gold. And look at what's happening to Zimbabwe a year after they introduced the ZIG dollar. They've gone through a deflationary event. Their economy's getting stronger. The head of the central bank of Zimbabwe was complaining about deflation. Well, that's what happens when you introduce gold to your currency. So that's it. I don't know if they do surprise everybody. It's really bad news, and it's going to coincide with the 1.5 150 base points in October, and if that comes out, man, it's going to be real bad news for the economy here in the U.S.
Yeah, interesting. What do you think, John?
I think your guests today are brilliant. I would agree that we're not going to know the hour. That's sort of what that Project Sandman's about, where you just flip the switch when you least expect it. And I agree with the Citizens for Sound Money. That's Daniel, correct?
Yes.
And by the way, that's great work you do along with the Sound Money Defense League, the way you guys go state to state. My hat's off to you, because when silver has that dual use of monetary and industrial, that's when we'll really see a bull run. But I would agree that those dollars, of course, come washing back. We only have but the military to defend the dollar now, and that's perhaps why we're involved today. I believe the Palantir CEO warned of a 3-front war: one in Israel, one in China, one in Russia. Obviously, the military-industrial complex has been assigned to just back that dollar and just beat everyone over the head with a stick. And force them to use it, because it makes no sense. I was telling a gal the other day that you put an ounce of gold in your purse. What is that on the conversion? 28 grams or 32 grams? I can't remember.
It's a 31.1035.
Okay, thank you. So if a gram of gold gets you a barrel of oil, you're getting, for just that one coin, it's like having 31 barrels of oil in your purse. So if you put 10 of those in your purse, that's 300 and some barrels of oil. I mean, talk about just there's just nothing, the strategy to have something and they can buy more oil now through the gold proxy than they ever could with the US dollar. So this is just pure economics, 5th grade style. That's what I like about it, because I've got about a 5th grade brain right now.
Well, I want to throw something in, John, that I thought when you were speaking. 2 things. There's no other, nothing compares to silver or gold, right? To an ounce of silver or an ounce of gold when it comes to the convenience and ease of investing in real assets. Because if I want to invest in oil, right, it's going to be really hard for me to stack up. Susie is not going to be happy if I bring 30 barrels of oil down into the basement. Okay. But I can do that with essentially with silver and gold. The other thing is, and I was having a conversation with this guy, Keith Weiner from Monetary Metals the other day, and I'd never thought of this, but we were talking that it's so universally available, right? Silver and gold are there. They may not be the biggest markets in terms of dollars, but I think they're the biggest markets in terms of the number of humans on the planet that participate in them. I mean, hey, we all of us here, right? Our Coin Shop, Chris, all of us, Jake, Daniel, Ron, John, we all have, I'm sure, some varying degrees of ounces of silver and gold, but it's not just us. So we're participating in that market every day. Do I want to keep it? Do I want to hold it? Do I want to buy more, sell it? But it's also that poor farmer in India that maybe has 5 ounces of silver. Millions and billions of people throughout the world that are participating in the gold and silver market that make it, in some ways, one of the smarter markets in the world.
Yeah, you just described that gold is very liquid. There is the most liquid asset in the history of, I mean, in all of us have emergencies every now and then. It breaks my heart, but there's been times in the last 12 months where I've had to sell an ounce of gold. But getting that $2,000 paycheck when you need to get that, just whatever, a tax bill comes that you weren't expected, or whatever, medical bill, or a co-payment of some sort, or it's so fungible. It is portable. It is divisible. It's all the things that Mr. Alistair McLeod, that genius intellectual, says it is, or Mike Maloney in what was that series called on YouTube? The Hidden Secrets of Money, I think. Yeah. It's a great series for anyone new. You can learn just as much as the 4 of us here just listening to that YouTube series. It's well worth your time. What else you got, Ron, as far as your projection? Let's ask you. What do you got?
I don't have a strong feeling about gold. Back in December, I had predicted that I thought we would get to 2,500 by May, which we didn't get there, but we got close, right? I am saying I think that my gut feel, right? And look, I don't have a fancy chart. I read all the fancy charts. I listen to people like you. I listen to a lot of smart people. I kind of also like to look at, I think, and you guys touched on this, I think that we are in a precarious situation right now in the world, and that your average American is clueless about what's going on. I mean, we have the mainland of Russia being invaded right now, right? I mean, that's a big deal. And I think that to a certain degree, it's safe to say that the United States is involved with that. I mean, they are. I mean, this is like, you talk about what could go on with the BRICS. You talk about what could go on with the world monetary system, and it's like these are really massive, big times. Anyhow, go ahead, Daniel.
No, and then look at what's going on in the UK. I mean, there might be a civil war in the UK and Sweden and Poland. The Europeans are fighting off Muslim immigrants, and it's getting violent. It is not including Ukraine, not including Iran and Israel. It's getting destabilizing. And historically, when the world destabilizes, everybody gets into gold and silver. And to bounce off of what John Little was saying and what you were saying, gold coins and silver coins are absolutely fantastic. I'm an advocate of asset-backed digital currencies, digital tokens backed 1-to-1 and redeemable for physical gold and silver. And I'm also a big proponent of gold backs. I love gold backs. If you can get a picture, there you go. Yeah. This right here, I paid a cleaning lady. She reached out to me because I was selling gold backs. She's like, hey, I'll clean your house for gold backs. It's liquid and it's small denominations. Each one of these right now is $5.17. My first time I bought a gold back less than a year ago. Yep, there you go. $3.92. It's up to $5.17 now. And it's a great way to use your gold and silver like currency and liquid cash. And we're, I'm also an authorized partner with Alpine Gold Exchange, and I'm signing up merchants here in Florida to accept gold and silver. I'm up to like 7 merchants now. And as more merchants start accepting gold and silver as money, as it's always been intended, these gold backs are fractional and liquid, just as cash. So the future is looking very bright. People are going to be able to start using real money once again. And if we get this legislation passed across the country, there's nothing stopping the potential growth of gold and silver as money again and a store of value. So.
Yeah. It was interesting. I read the other day that there's a new gold and silver vault depository that was built in Idaho that can store more metal than what can be stored at Fort Knox. And I thought, my point was, what is this telling us? I mean, this is telling me that there's demand out there for people to store their silver and gold. So,
yeah, and he didn't open this thing in like Midtown Manhattan. This is in Eagle, Idaho, in the middle of the, probably the least populated state in the United States. Well, that and North Dakota. Yeah. That, you're right, Ron. That is a great, what would you call that? An indicator, like the canary. And That's one thing I do want to emphasize too with gold and silver is just how private it is. I've had some many trouble with my bank lately, and just getting verified and seeing it. Everything is so easy for Uncle Sam and the IRS and any forensic person. You're guilty until proven innocent. Every transaction right now, we worry about the CBDC. Well, it's sort of already here. Just look at an online bank, and we got to remember the next wars. Sure, there's kinetic wars, but they are going to be cyber wars, and you just can't hack someone's gold. And when the energy grid goes down, gold and silver still shine in the candlelight, unlike Bitcoin.
And we look at how warfare is being conducted now, and it's drones, small drones with explosives killing soldiers. I mean, it's all going to be electronic. Where is all that silver going to come from? Where is all the materials? Copper. You know what I think is going to happen over the next 5 years? There's going to be a commodity boom. You got AI that needs electricity, and they're already tapping out the infrastructure here. At the Bitcoin conference 2024, Trump was talking about decreasing regulations so we can get nuclear power. Well, uranium's probably going to go up. So all the materials needed for energy creation, it's going to skyrocket. I think it might be an interesting time to start maybe buying up some copper, buying up some uranium, because the way that we're going with energy, I mean, the amount of energy it takes to run one query on ChatGPT is 17 times more than doing a Google search.
Yeah. Right.
So I use ChatGPT hundreds of times a day. I'm using a lot of power.
Oh, yeah. And if you go and look at a data center, I'm doing a story Monday on this topic, Daniel. Some of these data centers have 100,000 servers, and each of those servers has a fan on it, and they all need to be cooled, and miles of cable. And there's
aluminum.
There's 2,700 data centers in the United States.
These data centers, what's running AI? I was a crypto miner before I got into this precious metal space, and I was doing Ethereum mining. I had hundreds of GPUs. I'm a small fish, but the amount of aluminum in every GPU, the amount of copper, the amount of gold because of the fillings. I mean, AI is just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And, aluminum stocks too. I mean, start buying aluminum futures. I mean, it's probably a great time right now before the bull market really takes off to start getting into real commodities across the board.
Oh, for sure. Copper, great call, Daniel, on copper. Copper's the new silver. I mean, seriously. It's also antimicrobial. Its physical properties are just almost there at silver, but it can't be used in a solar panel because it doesn't have the reflectivity like silver does.
Yeah.
That's why silver's used in mirrors. Hey guys, I got to run, but it's so good to be surrounded by all you. I'm fans of these guys too.
Yeah, John.
Yeah. Hey, John, and I want to mention to our audience, because we have 700 people with us right now. John signing off. This is John Little from the Silver Academy Substack. Just go in your Google search bar and type in the Silver Academy Substack.
Thank you, Ron. And by the way, there is a paid version, but all the content, there's no differentiation between what a free user gets. Here's what I did, because trolls will come in. I just set it to where if you want to make a comment, you have to pay. So it's free. There's no paywall. Every day, it's 2 stories a day on silver every single day, and even Sundays.
Yeah, so, he's like me. He's a daily content guy, and if you watch Ron's Basement, you know that multiple times every week I'm talking about an article that I got from the Silver Academy. So do yourself a favor. Thanks, John. Thanks for your support.
Hey, Jake, it's good to see you, and not just in the chat room. And Daniel, I'm glad I got to talk to you too.
And Coin Shop Chris.
Well, I don't see his face, but Coin Shop Chris, I will check out your YouTube channel. And you guys,
thank you, John.
I'm starting a podcast soon. I'll have you guys on too.
Okay.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See ya.
Thanks, John. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So as John was speaking, and I'm thinking about silver, and Daniel is one. Daniel can probably comment on this. When I think about the fact that this AI ChatGPT does take 17 times, and I've heard 12 times, I've heard 20 times as much energy, computing power to do a search or a query as opposed to Google, and all these massive data centers that are all over the world, and we don't see them, right? Because they're kind of hidden. They're in off, you know, but they're everywhere. Inside of every, is it safe for me to say, and I want your opinion on this, guys, that when I look at these data centers, I can also think that there's, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of ounces of silver inside each of those data centers. We know there's pounds and pounds of copper, but there's also maybe hundreds or thousands of pounds of silver inside of each of one of those data centers. And the number is just continuing to expand.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's mostly copper, but there's definitely, I mean, there's definitely gold. There's gold in every single one of these, GPUs that they're using, industrial grade and non-industrial grade. So, and there's definitely silver inside of them as well. So they're just going to keep manufacturing and manufacturing and manufacturing. We're going to get to a point where there's just not enough materials to continue creating energy generation.
Yeah.
And creating new transformers and creating new power plants and everything. You know, I was listening to somebody yesterday about how we're going to probably be building a much stronger relationship with Canada, because Canada has so much, what is the water, the dams, hydro power. They have so much hydropower, and we're going to need that much power if we're going to be the AI capital of the world. So it's, you know, I really think physical assets is a great time to invest from, you know, not just precious metals, but base metals too.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, you know, to get back to the one real base fundamental reasons why we love silver, we love gold, we love copper, any real asset, there's only so much of these assets on the planet. We can say that definitively. There's, you know, there's a certain amount of silver and gold that is above ground. There's a certain amount that remains in the ground, but there's only a certain amount. And the paper, right, this stuff, right, this electronically and like this can be made into infinity, and it has. And we've seen what's happened, right?
Yeah.
No.
This is real money.
No, but we know what's happened with this since 1971 versus gold. It's lost, you know, probably 99% now of its quote unquote value versus gold versus silver versus probably, you know, to a certain degree, most other real assets. So, you know, I think it gives us, I think at times as silver and gold investors, because we are such a, for now, minority in this country, you know, we can feel maybe frustrated, but it's important for us to remember these things. Coin Shop Chris, are you still with us?
I'm still here, Ron. I'm just going to make a few points. You know, I see a lot of people come in from time to time. You know, they see the price go up and they have no plans for the cash.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a plan for the cash. If you need it, fine. If you don't need it, you must hang on to your precious metals. And another point is get to know your local farmers, get to know your local butchers, get to know your local restaurants, and ask them if they will take silver or gold as payment now.
Yes.
Because when the system crashes, you know, it's better to give up a little bit of silver now. Get them used to taking the silver and gold. Train the owners if you have to, and tell them to watch our YouTube videos. And have them learn, have them watch Andy Scheckman, have them watch Lynette Zane, have them watch Ron's Basement.
Absolutely.
You know, have them watch Coin Shop Chris. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that way we can all learn that silver and gold is actually real money. The time is now, and how much time we have, I can't tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't think we have much time.
No,
well,
I don't either.
Lynette Zhang, and I'm going to have her on here in a couple of weeks again. Lynette Zhang, I asked her last time she was on, I said, why does it feel like everything is so crazy in the world, right? It really does. It feels crazy. She said, and I liked how she said this, she said, that's because we're getting near the end. And when things get near the end, they get really crazy. And, you know, it's easy to recognize that after it all happens, you know, and again, I don't want to say, oh, the sky's falling, Chicken Little, everybody, you know, who knows, right? I mean, we could be wrong, but it sure feels crazy. And I think it's a lot easier to look back. It's like with recessions, right? They never say, oh, we're in a recession. They always do it like 6 months later, like, oh, well, the recession actually started at this point that things are, you know, the reason why things feel crazy is because we could be nearing a situation where things get really crazy.
Yeah. I think another way that we can look at the potential growth of gold and silver, I just posted a link of an image.
Yeah.
The correlation between the amount of paper dollars being printed and the increase in price of gold it's not 1-to-1, but it's probably 85-90% correlated, because if you look at the national debt over the last 10 years, 10 years ago, we're at $14 trillion in debt. We're at $35 trillion of debt today. That's over a 100% return. When you look at gold, if you look at gold at, I think 10 years ago, it was maybe.
Is this the chart? Did I pull it up?
Yep, that's it right there. 10 years ago, gold was probably around 1,600, and now we're at 25. Gold has gone up well over 100%. It's probably closer to $1,200 when I think 10 years ago. I forget. I looked at the chart, but I wrote a post 2 days ago about CPI and shadow stats inflation. Right. I only went back to 2020. Shadow stats says that real inflation rate through the end of 2023 was 49.74%. If you look at the price of gold as of 2 days ago, the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2023, gold is up 54%. What feels more real, that CPI, we've only had 16% inflation, or we've had over 49% inflation? Gold is keeping up with inflation, and it's the best asset you can put your economic energy, your wealth, your wages into to preserve your purchasing power. And if you want to predict, if we lower rates and we do quantitative easing again, I can see gold going to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 if we do quantitative easing again. The correlation is way too close between the printing of the dollar and the value of gold.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I like to think of if you envision all the gold in the world in one pile, and you envision all the dollars in the world in one pile, you can't just increase that pile of gold, but they can easily double or triple that pile of dollars, and that just makes the gold that much more valuable. Right? Yeah. And there's no other way to look at it. All right, guys, I think, does anybody have any closing remarks? Jake, anything you want to say before we wrap things up here?
Yeah, I do. Want to remind everybody, don't forget, just more than a week or so ago, we had Japan almost start a waterfall. It didn't take much. They barely raised the interest rates. You better keep your eye on that. We got commercial real estate in the United States. We got all kinds of deficit issues. If the slightest pullback on the stock market, say 15-20% comes in the next month or so before or around October, man, it's really going to get exciting. So get your popcorn and get your pizzas ready, because it's going to be entertaining.
And stack as much as possible. I was telling Ron before we got on, I am almost out of cash. I am buying as much gold and silver physical as I can, digital. I think there's going to be a major bull run.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Jake, I'm sorry we're not wrapping things up, because now I'm going to go just a few more minutes, because Jake,
go ahead.
I appreciate you bringing that up. I've been banging the table. Japan is the third largest economy in the world. Their stock market went down almost 13% in one day. And then did you guys notice it just like magically got fixed within a couple of days?
Yeah, it got papered over.
It got papered over. Yeah,
right.
I mean, if the system is that delicate right now, that fragile, that the world was ending on Monday, and by Thursday everything was fine again. To me, that just indicates that if they can't allow, capitalism is based on some pain, right? The losers lose, and there's prices to be paid. If they can't allow the system they have to paper over everything and react so quickly, how do you think they're going to react when that happens to the United States? Like Jake was just saying, right? They're going to print, man. That's all. They're going to. It's becoming. Things are happening faster and at a much more extreme level. And I think that's up to and including quantitative easing, papering over things. What did they do when we had what did they do 16 months ago when we had these banks that went bad, right? Remember, it was Sunday night and the world was ending. And oh, well, we have the BTF, the Bank Term Funding Program, and, we'll just paper over everything. Paper up. Yeah. right? We can't let any pain happen, right? But every time they do it, they just perpetuate and make bigger the underlying problems. And I could go on forever, but I mean, it started with the tech bubble. It was very accentuated during the great financial crisis. And eventually, Rick Rule, I had him on a few weeks ago, said, the hens come home to roost. And when they do, I mean, you can only fight gravity for so long, right? You can only keep, anyway, it's going to be.
And also one other thing, Ron, so keep an eye on the battle going on between Janet Yellen and Papa Jerome, the Fed chair. So they're at each other, because you can see Janet borrowing and doing deals on the short-term bonds and treasuries, not what she used to do on the 30. So keep your eyes on that. And like I said, there's a lot of great paid services out there. I give a shout out to Professor Vinny at Goldfix on Substack, and also Jordan Roy Byrne. He's got killer charts. All of them do great jobs, but they do have free and paid services. But man, if you guys want to learn and get some inside information, that's two good spots I recommend. I do the paid services for them. They got great information. Just want to share that with everybody.
All right, we're gonna hang around for just a few more minutes. Oh, did I remove somebody? Who did I remove?
I think you dropped Daniel.
Daniel,
bye-bye.
Daniel, come back, please. I apologize. Hopefully we'll get Daniel back here. And we're going to see if we can get Adam Van from Alpine Gold. He was going to hop in, and I probably accidentally got rid of you, Daniel. So please come back. Chris, what do you think? What do you think about this situation in the world and where we're going to be heading here in the next few months?
Well, I'm a big advocate, Ron, for junk silver. I've done a video on this. If we added up all the Washington silver quarters minted from 1932 to 1964, and if we were able to find every single quarter that they minted, you throw them in a big pile, you divide that by the American people, you're going to get less than 7 quarters per person.
Wow.
All right. So there's your math right there. And people think there's plenty out there. A lot of this stuff got melted down, as we know. We melt stuff when we can't read a date on something, it goes in the melt bucket. Or people come and buy it as scrap. That's what we sell it for at the shop.
Wow.
So, I mean, stack as much 90% silver you can get your hands on now before it is truly gone.
Yeah, there's only so much out there. There's only so much out there. So,
and Jake, I do know that you love 90% silver, Jake. So
yeah, I do. I also have a tip for everybody. Also, if you go to an LCS and they let you handpick your junk silver, I recommend doing that before you get online and just buy a random 50, 100 face or 1,000 face bag. Because if you get a chance now to pick all the nicer true weight 2.5 gram dimes and the good looking quarters, if you can get all those first, if you look around now, a lot of the junk silver that they have for sale are not calling them slicks, but they're pretty worn. That seems to be the leftovers. So if you need to go through your stash now, trade or barter or do something and try to get rid of your slicks and see if you can upgrade to 100% stack that's really nice and full true weight the best you can, on those, because it'll be a whole lot easier to barter and trade when you have 14 real dimes that'll equal an ounce versus 14 slicked mercuries. And what if the farmer, like Chris is talking about, where they want an ounce of silver and you give them 14 slick mercuries, he's going to ask you for 2 more dimes or 3 to make up the weight. And remember, in the United States, they sell it to us by face value. But overseas, my friend Dutch, they buy it in weight. So there's always a difference of what will you be buying and how will the trader, how does he want his payment in silver? Is it face value? I bet you he's going to want weight. As soon as he finds out he's getting all the slicks, he's going to want weight. So just keep that in mind if you got time to do that now.
And I totally agree with you, Jake. I think it will go towards the weight. Yeah, I really agree with that.
So you think eventually we'll be buying and selling and trading junk silver based more on weight than on what we're kind of historically used to now, which is based on face value, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
and there are shops. There are shops that do buy it by weight now, and there are shops who will buy. Most shops will buy it at 14. $1.40 equals any $1.40 in 90% silver equals an ounce of silver. That's how most shops buy it. But some shops are starting to turn over to the weight.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I mean, think about it this way, Ron. If you and I were going to do a barter trade and whatever it is, and you got your payment and you realize that you got 14 slick dimes and you put it on a digital scale and you're short an ounce. Well, how long are you going to continue doing trades? And then am I the one screwing you on purpose because I'm giving you all my slick stuff first? Yeah, kind of. So if any of the stackers, if any of us are going to do any barter, nobody's going to take less than an ounce of silver for whatever, you're buying. So why, if we don't do it now, now's the time to upgrade, trade it for some eagles, then come back later and, just try to upgrade your dimes and quarters and halves and try to pick out the best ones you can.
Well, it's kind of like what do they call it? Shaving. Like back in the day, people would shave little parts off. I mean, it's not. It's just because the coins have been worn from decades and decades of use, but it's really the same concept. It's like, a little bit of the silver's gone because they've been worn down. I don't know where it went. I guess it's on people's fingertips or somewhere on the planet, but we do know one thing. It's not there. It's not on those coins. So hold on, guys. I think we've got one more guest. We do. Mr. Adam Van from Alpine Gold. Hold on one second here. Hey, Adam, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
Hey,
Adam,
how's it going?
How you doing,
nice
Adam?
to meet you.
Yep, that's we've got Jake from Jake's Custom Parts. He's a well-known figure in the gold and silver community and a big supporter of the basement. He's a moderator on my channel, but he's friends with Andy Schechtman, Chris Marcus. He knows a lot of people and a lot about silver and gold. And we're also in the lower right corner joined by the one and only Coin Shop Chris from the Coin Shop Chris YouTube channel, the world's fastest growing silver and gold YouTube channel. And of course, Adam Van from Alpine Gold, who's been a big supporter of Ron's Basement, works in the industry. And Adam, thanks for joining us today.
No, sure. I work in the industry in the services side of things. So not any kind of direct competitors or anything. We do services with gold and silver. We've talked about it in the past. But man, what an exciting end to the week at $2,500 for an ounce. You've taken the blindfold off of our bear in the back. What's his name back there?
Oh shoot, Susie's gonna kill me. Goldie. And Susie informed me Goldie is a girl. So she's her.
Goldie is a girl. We finally got her. You've had her in your basement for 2 years. Blindfolded, and finally, but that's okay. We'll let the rumors stop right there. But anyway, no, what an unprecedented week in gold. Silver's not doing bad either, but right there on Thursday and Friday, it just shot right up. And we've had some very, very happy members that got in early before the surge. I don't think the surge is over. This is just a tell of what our economy is doing and what's coming to the future. The uncertainty that's happening is what this is, and I think that we're going to see 3,000. I'm still holding. I'm holding anyway. I'm a big gold holder, but a hoarder, I guess you could say. But I think we're going to see 3,000 by the end of the year. And I have to say, Ron, I think you were the one who was calling that. I called 2,500 by December, and I think you corrected me in one of your other episodes that you thought it would be 3,000. And it looks like you're going to win.
Well, we'll see. And some of the big banks are calling for 3. I know, like if I remember correctly, Citibank and a few of the other like big banks. Some of the Dutch banks and the banks in Europe are saying that we could certainly see $3,000 gold by the end of this year. And when you just look at what's going on with the financial system, with the amount of debt that's out there, and then just all the uncertainty that's going on in the world, it seems very, very, very plausible at this point.
Yeah. Hey, Ron, I got something to commemorate the see if we can hold that up. Try and
Oh,
get the
wow.
glare out of it.
Yeah.
This is a gold, 2 gold buffaloes and 2 gold eagles, and then 2 silver eagles that
Wow.
we had framed. So it's not necessarily for sale, but
Yeah.
everything's got a price. But once we get into the right numbers, but yeah, we had that framed up, and we're gonna have that hung up in our shop.
Wow.
And that's pretty cool
to commemorate everything going on. Well,
yeah,
Adam,
it's all on the back of it, so I know you guys got to get back at it, but anyway, no, congratulations on everything.
Thank
Ron.
you.
It's
and you've been a big supporter of the channel. Jake has been a big supporter of the channel. Jake, is there anything you want to say before we sign off here?
No, I'm good. I appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Ron. Congratulations. Let's watch gold keep going, and gold for the win, baby. This year, it's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
And
have Chris reach out to me. I can support his channel too, and anybody that I'm into gold and silver. That's all I am.
Yeah.
I'm into gold and silver is what I like, and I'll support anybody that's a brother in the gold and silver game.
Yeah, let me say, let's see if I can put my words together.
Well, I do appreciate that, Adam.
Yeah, Adam is probably one of the most genuine. I know you do a lot with, the what's it called, Pork Fest, which is kind of a gold and silver oriented libertarian event that you help put on every year. But you definitely strike me as somebody who is just genuine, not out there trying to push your agenda or your own self-interest. And I've met a lot of great people on this journey, but you're definitely at the top of the list in terms of just someone who genuinely is a good person, but also at the same time believes in the silver and gold. So thank you. We appreciate
thank you,
it.
Ron. That's very kind. Coming from you, that just means the world.
Yeah,
so
well, it's genuine, and it wouldn't be complete if I didn't say a few words about Coin Shop Chris, the one and only who was with me from very early in the channel when the bear got originally blindfolded. Chris was a big supporter, is a big supporter of Ron's Basement. He's out on his own now, guys. I'll say one last time: YouTube, go to YouTube search bar, put in Coin Shop Chris. Please go check him out. Help support him. He puts out great content. Chris, thank you for all you've done. Are you there? Sometimes his internet connection's bad.
Yeah, I'm back.
he's all choked up. He's just all choked up. That's what it is. It's a moving experience.
Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, buddy. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to sign off. Thanks again to everybody, all of our viewers. We had over 700-800 people joining us. And thanks to the guests. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Chris. We'll be back on this again. This worked great. So, maybe on a monthly basis, we can get this group together again and keep talking gold and silver. Thank you, guys.
I'm in.
Thanks, Ron. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ron.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.